Be happy. Be healthy. Be your best. Be your best.
So I am in Arizona still, and I just got my grandbabies out of the pool. They have been in there this morning practicing their swim survival techniques. They're rolling, floating, chin up, belly up, airplane arms, quiet toes, get your breath. They're getting really good at it, which is just really reassuring. And please watch, because there's going to be an interview with the woman that does those trainings here in Arizona. I'm going to do that this week, and it'll most likely be posted next week. Don't miss that. It's going to be an incredible podcast. But today I wanted to just go into a totally different area. And I've been following the news on how many people have been severely affected by the heat in Europe. So many deaths, so many problems, and not equipped for the heat wave that's gone through. It's really, really a distressing, tragic situation. And then I started thinking about, well, our experience here. We stayed at a home in Arizona, and on the, on the fourth day that we were here, the AC broke. And all night it got hotter and hotter, and the next morning I called the landlord that we were renting from, and they came and examined the air conditioner and found that the compressor was gone, but the unit was old enough that they actually had to order a new unit, which took a number of days. Thankfully, we had a friend that we could stay with. A couple of us slept on the floor, the girls slept in a bed, and we ended up there for 4 nights, with 2 nights that we couldn't even go back to the home because it was so hot inside. And it just got me thinking more and more about those people in Europe and people in the United States, people anywhere in the world where that particular problem hits, that heat wave, and it can just be so dangerous to health, especially for elderly people, people with respiratory issues. But another area that really you don't hear as much about, but is important, and I looked this up this morning just to kind of get my facts straight, and that's with people's animals. And sometimes people don't really know exactly what to look for in their animals as far as if they are being affected by overheating. And so I have a couple of cats at home, and I figured that I would start with some of the warning signs with cats to know whether or not your feline family members are getting overheated, things that you can look for. So I took some notes. One of them is panting and breathing problems. Now I put a star beside it because panting and trouble breathing can be a lot of other things as well, not just overheating. But it is one of the major signs of overheating in a cat under high temperatures. So it's something that you would want to pay attention for. Another one was restlessness. If the cat just seems hot and is just kind of going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Unusual restlessness in hot weather can be a sign of being too hot and needing to take measures to cool the animal down. Another one is a rapid heartbeat, holding them and seeing if there's just a really rapid heartbeat going on, increasing heart rate as well. Another one is drooling. Now I put a star next to that one because in researching it, there's many different things with an animal that can cause drooling. But if you're seeing a combination of high heat with some panting, with some restlessness, and they're starting to do drooling, then that is a sign that they're having a problem with being overheated. Another one was unusual being lethargic and just kind of weakness. I put a star next to that one because obviously that can be a sign of some other indications. But here again, we're looking for patterns. So if you're seeing panting, trouble breathing, restlessness, increased heart rate, some drooling, lethargic behavior, feeling more weakness than you normally see, you want to start connecting those dots and realize that your cat is starting to struggle. Obviously, elevated body temperature. Another one is stumbling and loss of balance. That is something that as animals start to get too hot, that cats will do, when they will actually start to stumble or just have the ability to hold their balance as well. Another one is vocalizing. Your cat will get where it is vocalizing more, that something is wrong. And so you want to pay close attention to if you start to see vocalizing with the animal. Another one is red tongue. If their tongue all of a sudden turns a different color and it's turning bright red, that's something that you really want to pay attention to. Also their gums, the gums in the mouth, if they start to turn bright pink or red, that could be a sign of overheating. Another one is glazed eyes. As they start to overheat, it can just get where their eyes don't have that same focal ability and that focusing ability. And so that is something that you would want to watch for as well. Do some research. There's different steps that you can take to cool down a cat to get it where its body temperature is lowered and they are not suffering from the high heat as much. Now, outdoor cats tend to be more adapted to temperature changes. One of the things is that if you have cats that are traditionally just inside cats all the time, and all of a sudden air conditioning is not available like normal and the temperature starts going higher and higher and higher, those animals have a harder time dealing with that temperature change. So if you have cats that are normally inside cats, you really want to watch that they are not overheating when the temperature starts to go up and go up. So these are just some of the warning signs if you have cats. They are beloved family members for a lot of people, and they're ones that, as you yourself are suffering from the higher temperature, you want to make sure that you're watching out for them as well. So let's just review real quick what those were. Panting, trouble breathing, unusual restlessness, rapid increased heart rate, unusual drooling, being more lethargic than normal, showing unusual weakness that you wouldn't normally see. With cats, they might not be moving as much. They might not want to be jumping up and down on any favorite couch or bed or furniture. They may just be laying around in a way that you realize is due to the heat. Keep an eye on that. Obviously, elevated body temperature, stumbling around, losing balance, talking a lot more, vocalizing a lot more, red tongue, red gums, bright pink tongue, bright pink gums, and then the eyes glazing over because of the effect of heat. So these are just some of the valuable things that you can look for with your animal. And it's really, really important with your pet to look for these, because what happens with cats is if they start going through this high heat and it's not remedied, it can cause invisible organ damage on the inside that can end up being serious enough that it actually can cause death in an animal. So if you feel like your cat is showing a lot of these symptoms and you feel like it's serious, absolutely call your primary caregiver for your family cat member and get them in to get evaluated. Their bodies are a lot smaller. They can get affected just like humans and sometimes even more rapidly by the high heat. So I hope that these are helpful hints for you. I have a cat named Zoe and a cat named Peanut. They're very dear to the family, and it's something that myself, I wanted to watch because the temperatures have been rising. And if I go home and it turns out that the AC goes out there, it's going to be something with my cats that I'm going to be glad that I looked up and was able to figure out what to look for. So look forward to talking to you in the next episode. Please like and subscribe, share the information with family and friends, and don't forget to look for that podcast in the next week or so that has to do with the trainer that teaches kids how to roll and float and survive in the water. See you next time.
Be your best. Be happy.